buzzing cars stand waiting patiently.
Hi everybody, and welcome to season 2 of Rap Rock and all that jazz. Oh my god, it's been forever. My name is Yousra, and you are?
Leslie Wilson, and it's great to be back, Yousra.
Yeah.
Wow.
We took a break.
Yeah.
To be honest, it wasn't on purpose. Things got very busy.
A bit of summer holidays, a bit of, things, but it's awesome to be back, Yousra.
Yes.
And let's just remind our friends out there who we are, why we're doing this. Anyway, in case you guys don't know, this show is dedicated to music. Both Yousra and me have a lot in common. Besides the obvious things, we're both good looking. But we love, we're both journalists, we both work in the Gulf News, the #1 English language newspaper in the Middle East. And we both love music. We love it so much. Yeah.
But we love different kinds of music.
Yeah.
Which people have, grown to see if you've watched our previous episodes.
And that's what I really love about it,
Yeah. We're so different, but yet we talk about stuff. I don't know. It's good. And what an episode to come back with. It is the 50th anniversary of Abbey Road.
Yes, it's an amazing subject to be discussing today. Hope you guys have fun listening to us. I mean,
I'm sure they
we're
will.
really going to go back in time. We're going to go back 50 years.
Okay. So tell me, because look, I hate to admit this, a lot of people my age go yeah, I'm a Beatles fan. I love all their songs. And I get it, they're good, but I don't sit and actively listen to them. So educate me.
Okay. I would say the Beatles are probably the greatest band that ever existed. Okay,
Big
for many
statement.
reasons, Yousra. It's not just my personal opinion. Of course, I was a kid when the Beatles were around. They had a short career. They just recorded for about 9 years. They made just 11 albums. But those 11 albums, the impact it had on the music world was like nothing else. All right? Okay, today you talk about Ed Sheeran, George Michael, Elton John,
Yeah.
guys like that. And you always refer to them by both names, but not with these Beatles.
Yeah.
They were just known by John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
Yeah.
They were that famous. You mentioned these names, and everybody knew who you were talking about. So that's how iconic they were.
So who's still alive?
Unfortunately, Lennon was shot by a crazy fan.
Yes.
And George Harrison died a couple of years ago.
All right.
So we've got just Paul McCartney, the bass guitarist, and Ringo Starr still alive.
Nice.
Keeping the Beatles disbanded in 1969.
So I heard that they were recording Abbey Road, and while they were doing that, there was a lot of clashing and problems, and that's when they started breaking up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the band, they'd done everything they could musically. The canvases that they painted were beautiful. They did folk, they did rock, they did a groundbreaking album called Sgt. Pepper's, the Lonely Hearts Club Band, which, created a wall between old music and new music. And I think John Lennon particularly had fallen out of love with the band. He'd met a woman called Yoko Ono, who
Yes.
influenced his thinking, his whole psyche, and he had already informed Paul and George and Ringo that he was going to leave the band. So it was against his background that they would record their perhaps best album of all time.
Yes. So
How ironic is that, isn't it?
You
Yeah.
told me to check out Abbey Road before this episode. So I sat and I listened through the whole album, and it's very nice. I have to
that's so
say,
sweet.
I
Yeah.
understand why people really love it. And we have some stats here. So basically, they have 1.7 billion streams on Spotify, which is my music go-to. And the funny thing is, it's not baby boomers or Beatlemania
Yeah.
fans. It's teenagers. So people
Yeah.
who are even younger than me.
Yeah.
They're sitting and they're downloading and listening to Beatles songs. And they influence pop culture in a really big way. I mean, there's that movie called Yesterday. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, that's right.
It really literally got released this year of a guy who lives in a world where the Beatles didn't exist,
That's
that
right.
only he knew.
Yeah.
And I feel like that also maybe raised some more awareness with the younger people about the Beatles.
Yeah.
So Tell me more.
I think it's kind of a hereditary kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you listen to your dad, your mum, your uncles, your grandfathers playing this music. I think it all waters down, it trickles down, and that's how youngsters get influenced today. I mean, they decide. I mean, of course, they like their Ed Sheerans and their Drakes, etc. But they also like to go back in time and find out what happened in the music world before they were born. And
I actually have a Spotify playlist called "Before You Were Born," and all of the '80s songs are in it.
Oh, that's nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So let's go back to Abbey Road. I mean, there's so much to talk about. I mean, I hope we have enough time, guys, but we'll try to put it all in together. Of course, it's named after a road. I mean, an album named after a road in North London.
Okay.
Yeah? And it's the most visited road, pedestrian crossing, which is also known as the Beatles crossover.
Okay. So
in the world.
how do you get there? Can you get there by tube?
You could get there. There's a tube station very close by as well. So it's very accessible. And it's just outside the Abbey Road studios, which were owned by Apple Records.
Yes.
One of the most defining studios that still exist today. And many an artist would love to have gone there and said, I went to record in Abbey Road. It's got so much of significance in the music world today. And what about the myths of the Abbey Road cover? You know about that, don't you?
Some people say that John Lennon is floating in the photo. So they say the photo was taken after he died?
No, it's Paul, actually. Paul McCartney.
Paul.
Yeah,
Paul is floating.
Paul is floating. So basically, there are these four guys.
Yes, the Beatles.
John, Ringo, Paul, and George Harrison walking across this road in the cover. And the guy who shot this picture was given just 5 shots. Those days, there were no motor drives in all of the old cameras. He had just 5 times suppressor shutter. And then he was shooed off, So anyway, you've got John Lennon wearing a white suit, which considered, the conspiracy theorists and those who read between the lines and all thing, it's very heavenly. And Ringo is in all black, so he's the Undertaker. And George Harrison, who brings up the quartet, is in denim, a ragged, roughed. So he's a gravedigger. And the third guy, Paul McCartney, is barefoot.
The fourth guy.
Barefoot, on the cover.
Yeah.
They're all wearing these different... Right. And so it's supposed to signify that actually he's dead. And this was a stand-in for him. Because Paul McCartney is a left-handed bass player.
Okay.
He did everything left-handed. But in this particular picture, he's got a cigarette in his right hand. So people said it's
not him.
It's not him. It's a stand-in, and Paul was actually dead.
But
and
we
there's
see.
A Beatle. Sorry, and there's a Beatle, a little car Beatle, in the background in the photograph, which has 28IF, the number plate. 28 signifies Paul's age.
Okay.
If he was alive. So, you can read into so many things about this cover.
Paul is alive today, though. Or do you feel like that's his stand-in?
No, he's still very much Paul. You can...
People are so crazy.
Yeah, because, soon after that, his career didn't collapse when the Beatles broke.
No.
He made some of the even better music. He formed a band called Wings with his ex-wife, who's no more, Linda McCartney.
Yes.
And they made a very good album called Band on the Run.
Okay.
Which, as a kid, I used to walk around very proudly as a proud owner of this vinyl disc,
Oh, nice.
It's a great album. A lot of people would still be listening to this song called Band on the Run.
Okay. I know his daughter. I don't know her, but I know of Stella McCartney. She's a designer.
Awesome designer, just that, yeah.
Very successful, I think. And her stuff is so beautiful, and women love wearing it. Yes. And I have my eye on one of her bags, so I hope that I can.
She works for the House of Gucci, right? Or she works for.
She works for Stella McCartney,
and
she has her own label.
Yeah,
so very cool.
Tennis clothing is all Stella McCartney's clothes.
Yes, she collaborated with Adidas. So it's very nice. I really want to get one of her tiny little bags. Yeah,
that's lovely,
we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to London next month.
Okay.
So I will try and find Abbey Road.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be easy to get a photo? Because
of course it is. Of course. It's very doable. It's something. Don't come back from London without that photograph. You'd really treasure it for the rest of your life.
Okay.
And of course, why not holding your Stella McCartney bag and crossing the road with that bag?
Let's see. It's a little bit of an investment, so I'm going to think about buying it.
So, Yousra, what are the songs you said you listened to the album? What's the song that's stuck in your mind?
Here Comes the Sun. So beautiful.
That is an amazing song.
Just like how they play it. I've heard it in so many films. I actually never connected the dots to know that this was the Beatles, so I was pleasantly surprised when I heard it while I was streaming the album.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's written and sung by George Harrison, who till then, he was kind of the quieter Beatle. It was mostly Lennon and McCartney who did all the writing. So he suddenly emerged as a huge talent. And he penned the two most beautiful songs on the album, Here Comes the Sun, which was recorded in his friend Eric Clapton's garden. So he had a busy day ahead, a lot of meetings, etc. So he took his acoustic guitar, went into Eric Clapton's garden, sat there amongst all the flowers, and looked around at the beautiful world, and wrote Here Comes the Sun.
Lovely.
And what an iconic song it was. And the other song that he wrote was called Something.
Okay.
One of the most defining ballads of our time.
Oh, really?
It's a song that, Frank Sinatra, one of the legendary Broadway singers, he never forgets to sing, and even described it as the most beautiful song ever written.
Oh, wow.
And I speak too much today, guys, because I'm so into it.
No, it's
but I've
great.
just got one more thing to say about this song called Something, which you probably heard. It's inspired by two things. There's another singer called James Taylor, who wrote a beautiful love song called Something in the Way She Moves. So Paul McCartney liked this song.
Yeah.
And he also liked a lady called
Yoko.
No, that's John Lennon's wife.
Oh, sorry. Paul McCartney. Linda.
No, that's later.
Okay. I don't know anything. Tell me.
Anyway, he was so inspired. He wrote this lovely song, like all songs, love songs. You got to sing it from deep within.
So what did he write? And
so
for
something,
who? This is getting juicy. Tell me. Something?
Both Eric Clapton and Paul McCartney wrote two of their best ballads
About women.
about women.
Layla. No, that's somebody else.
Wonderful Tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's this?
Patty Boyd. She's a model and a photographer from the 60s, right?
So she was
the inspiration behind the song,
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Did they ever get together?
They were dating, and then
Nice.
Eric Clapton also dated her, and he also was inspired to write
Wow.
Wonderful Night.
She must have been some
so
woman.
you guys have a lot of influence on people's emotions and the artistic skills
Us
that they
women,
can bring. Lovely. So it's a lovely eclectic album,
Yeah.
It's very much, in my opinion, a Paul McCartney album, because Side A, as we used to call it those days because of vinyl.
Tape.
Vinyl,
vinyl,
yeah. Side A, it has 6 lovely songs, and then side B is basically a medley of songs, a beautiful, blissful medley of songs. And you could get a hint at the last song where McCartney sings, and in the end, the love you give is the one you take away. So it's brilliant. So
true.
It's so final, that
That's
sounds
so true.
final.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the last we heard of the Beatles after that. Although Let It Be was released later.
Yes, so
it was recorded before.
Yes,
that,
they released another album after Abbey Road, but that was recorded earlier. So Abbey Road was actually the last album they recorded together as a group right before they broke up. So what do you have to say about people who think Yoko Ono broke the Beatles up?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that theory because, she had such a massive influence on Lennon. And Lennon and McCartney were like Simon and Garfunkel. They were inseparable. They were peas in a pod.
Yeah, they were friends from school, weren't they?
And suddenly they started to fight over loyalties. They fought over songs. There's a song on Abbey Road called Oh Darling, which John Lennon wanted to sing. But McCartney said, you don't have the pitch for that. And he wanted to sing it because it's a real belter. Yousra.
Yeah.
So they were fighting. They never did this before. The Beatles never fought before. And Yoko Ono obviously had a massive influence in Lennon. Yeah, as you could see, their famous bed-in, where they became very, they protested against, cruelty. And of course, she would inspire him to write probably the greatest song ever written.
Imagine.
Oh,
I love that song.
That's heaven on earth, that song,
That's
isn't it?
so beautiful,
Yeah. Okay. Trivia time.
Okay, hit me.
Why do they choose the name The Beatles?
Does it have to do with the car or the insect?
The second half of the answer is great.
The insects. Okay, so maybe they picked the name the Beatles because they saw 4 beetles. I don't know.
That's cute. That's
Tell
really
me.
nice. Yeah. Okay. Basically, the story goes that they were in the 50s. There was a band called Buddy Holly and the Crickets.
Oh,
And Buddy Holly is the
okay.
guy who his plane crashed and he died
Yes.
in 1958. And another singer, Don McLean, wrote a song called American Pie about Buddy Holly.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, coming back to the Beatles, they were so influenced by this band, and the band's name was Buddy Holly and the Crickets.
Yeah.
So they also wanted to call themselves after
A bug.
an insect.
Okay.
Yeah, an insect.
They're like the
And that's
Beatles.
how they settled on the Beatles.
Very nice
A bit
name.
weird, but I mean, it sticks in the mind.
It
head,
works.
Really
It works.
Yeah.
What else? Any
So-
more trivia? This is fun.
So yeah, I think the Beatles are a band that every youngster out there should get involved in. Try to listen to that, find out, because the way the templates that they laid down for the future artists. I mean, like Elvis Presley did, Michael Jackson would do later
Yeah.
in life. I can't think of many people right now out there, but perhaps Adele is somebody who will inspire a lot of young people to.
Yeah.
To real songstresses. I mean, we've got the cute little girls, the Ariana Grandes and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I call that more like surface level music.
But that's right.
It's
yeah.
not.
And the
Adele's-
Beatles
Adele's
definitely
doing a
were
good job.
never surface level.
No, I think
were
they
there.
really thought about the stuff they put out there.
Yeah. But I know a lot of people, I mean, who still think the Beatles were cheesy.
Yeah.
But that was a time, I want to hold your hand. And
yeah.
help and all that. But
60s, right?
that's right. It was
60s
fun
were
music. It
full
was
of
bubble
cheese.
gum music. It was
Yeah.
fun music.
People enjoyed it,
But
yeah.
they matured. I mean, we matured with them as well, listening to their music, and it was fascinating. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's
Nice.
it. So and guess what?
What?
Abbey Road broke the Guinness Book of World Records
Oh, really?
as the oldest album to come back to number 1 on the charts.
Oh,
50 years
nice.
after it was recorded. Earlier this year, in September, it
Yes.
went to number 1 on the charts.
Oh, that's amazing.
Isn't that
That's,
incredible?
look,
Like,
it's like nice to hear things like that
yeah,
about our very devastating world.
of course it does. Yeah, and music. I mean, music soothes any soul, any hurt
Yeah.
soul.
Yeah.
I mean, Princess Diana died. Elton John sang "Candle in the Wind," and
Yeah.
music transcends everything else. Music puts a smile on your face. Music makes you cry,
Yeah.
makes you happy. I mean, let's not talk about reggaeton and gangster rap and all that. But having said that, by and large, music is such a lovely gift.
That's true.
Yeah. So, guys, this show is about the gift of music and the music that
The
Yousra
Beatles
and
brought
me
us.
love so much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did too much of talking today.
That's okay.
because,
I
the
didn't know enough
Beatles-
about this topic, so you
We
had
come
center
back
stage.
with something that's more relevant, maybe
Yeah.
next episode.
Yes, I can't
With
wait.
that?
I'll think of something. I don't know. We'll talk. We'll see. We'll talk.
Look forward to that.
But yeah, please stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter. Tweet to us if you have any ideas at Gulf_news. And that's it for this episode. See you next time.
Thank you, Yousra. See you guys soon.
On